Or checking.
Please, we need that introduction.
Sorry,
please.
let me just.
Let you call it, please.
Mediation matters, yes?
What are you looking at?
I did try to kill you now. I didn't know what I will ask you.
So why is it not showing?
I seriously look at that.
So you are ready to go, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
We're set. So we're starting at 8 minutes after 5.
My name is Christopher Bailey of the World Health Organization. I'm the Arts and Health Lead, and you're listening to 98.9 Invicta FM. Have a fantastic day.
Do you have an unresolved problem and you're finding it hard to fix? Do you have pending issues in court and you're tired of adjournment? Is it land issues, investment issues, inheritance issues, family issues, loan repayment issues, or broken agreement? Do you want to settle out of court? Then join Gabriel Onovo every Tuesday by 5 p.m. on Mediation Matters. Gabriel Onovo is a distinguished professional, an ADR practitioner, chartered mediator, conflictologist, and peace consultant.
Okay, you're not joining
committed to fostering harmony and resolving conflict with expertise. Oh yes, Mediation Matters at Invicta 98.9 FM, Kaduna, where we get to trash issues, negotiate, conciliate, and arbitrate. Mediation Matters, Mediation Matters, live on Invicta 98.9 FM, Kaduna. Mediation Matters with Gabriel Onovo. Join us every Tuesday by 5 p.m. on Invicta 98.9 FM on Mediation Matters. Let's be your guide to achieving a peaceful resolution. Don't miss out.
Hello, Kaduna.
Wait.
Hello, Kaduna, and good evening. So glad to be here on set with you this evening. Saying a big shout out to all our listeners out there. Please call your brothers, your sisters, your family members, and everyone around you to be a part of this conversation tonight. Call all the lovers, the spouses, husbands and wives, fathers and mothers, and all their children, them. Make Mona come sit down, hear what we want to talk about this evening. Tonight, I am so glad to be to talk to us about a very interesting topic, and I will not be alone. On set tonight, we have a professional, a communication strategist, by name Dr. Henry Apabio, who is going to be speaking with us tonight on resolving conflict via dialogue. Resolving conflicts through dialogue. Let me give a moment to our wonderful guest tonight to say hello to us as we go on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, sir. Dr. Henry Apabio is the lead consultant of Alpha Board, and he's here tonight to speak with us on how we can turn our conflicts into opportunities for understanding and peaceful resolutions. So, Dr. Apabio, we are so glad to have you on set with us this evening. I'm sure our viewers or listeners out there, I'm sure our listeners out there are waiting to hear what we have. I am Deborah Maida Megari, and I am your co-host tonight. Please, Mr. Henry Apabio, what exactly do we mean by dialogue in the context of conflict resolution?
Okay, so from a layman's perspective, dialogue would simply mean a conversation or an exchange of ideas between two people, right? But in the context of conflict resolution, it's more than just speaking, right? It involves speaking in a respectful and open-minded way. Now, there are two concepts that I need to explain in that definition. When we say something you're respectful, it means you keep it civil, no matter how high the tensions would run. When we say open-ended, I mean, those of us who were really good in English back in the days, when they say open-ended questions, it means questions that do not limit you. You explain it based on your perspective. It's against the yes and no. So when we say open-ended conversation, it means there is nothing that you can talk about. right? There's no limit. The conversation, the dialogue is not scripted. Now, remember again, we're saying that for us to say that dialogue is helping in resolving conflict, it has to be in a respectful and an open-ended conversation between two parties. Now, the major aim, while we would have to dialogue to resolve conflict, is to have a mutual understanding, not necessarily agreement, mutual understanding.
Yeah. Well, I like that. Not necessarily agreement, but that mutual understanding. You know, there are a lot of people who have the school of thought that they rather keep their thoughts to themselves, or they do not want to express what they think, feel, or observe per time to the persons around them. That's why we are calling on spouses and all brothers, sisters, family members, and the entire society to come out today and say to them that there's nothing we cannot talk about. It's important that we know that there's no conflict that cannot be discussed, not because you want to be understood, but just so that you're also able to understand the other person. We would definitely have people waiting on set to call in on this channel. Please do well to listen and call. Call us on 080-081-40-000989. I take that again, 081-40-000989. So, Dr. Henry, we're going on a quick commercial. When we are back, Dr. Henry is going to be talking to us a lot more about how we can utilize our conflicts. I'm off, right?
Yeah.
Are you a leader in any capacity, a professional in any field, an educator, a parent, a religious leader, a husband, a wife, or just someone who wants to live and lead with more understanding? Then this is for you. A 3-day virtual masterclass on
Can you guys use,
emotional
like, pen and
intelligence,
paper to
a
come and
life-changing
speak?
experience to
Because
help you master your emotions,
Can you guys use
resolve
pen and paper
conflict
to communicate?
peacefully,
Yeah, I was
and
about to
become
say
a
that,
more
there's a lot of
powerful and
I'm
compassionate
distracted, so maybe
Yeah,
right and
Teachers
just
are
pass to me.
Dr. Gwa E. Tengu, the State Coordinator, National Human Rights Commission, Kaduna. Barrister Laura Bismarck Emerele, the Secretary,
Thought I saw you
Nigerian
with
Bar
paper.
Association,
Post it,
Kaduna
shows.
Branch, and Vice Chairman, ICMC Kaduna. Mr. Gabriel Onovo, a conflictologist, emotional intelligence coach, chartered mediator, founder and lead consultant at GO and Associates ADR Hub. Highlights include how to stay calm under pressure, how to connect deeply with people, and how to lead with empathy and influence. So whether you're managing a home or leading an organization, emotional intelligence is the tool you need to lead right. Date, June 27th to 29th, 2025. Time, 7 p.m. Venue, Zoom online platform. Please note that participants will be issued a professional diploma certificate by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. To register, simply pay 5,000 naira to Polaris Bank with account number 409-205-2258. Account name, GO and Associates ADR Hub. Then send proof of payment to WhatsApp number 0812-034-3208 or call 0706-447-5062. Register now as limited slots are available. Let's build peace one emotion at a time.
Welcome back from that commercial. So, register quickly for emotional intelligence. That is an event you should not miss for anything in the world. Dr. Dr.
Dr. Fabio, please.
Dr. Fabio. Sorry for that.
Listen up.
Yeah, so we're back, and I'm really, really, really particular about dialogue. A lot of people do not believe that through conversing, there's a therapeutic effect it comes with on its own, that they are able to have a blend in. We do not think that Nigerians know how to dialogue. Do you think so?
Honestly, I don't think that we know how to dialogue as Nigerians, and I'm going to give you certain reasons why I feel so. number one, there is this cultural barrier that we have especially when the conflict is between someone that is older and someone that is younger, or someone that is maybe influential in the society. We have so much barriers in terms of religious barriers. It could mean that there are certain things you are not comfortable to talk about as a virtue of your religion. It could be social barrier, it could be political barrier. So these barriers could also make us as Nigeria worry ourselves about. But most importantly, and I think this one is not just about Nigerians now, I think globally, we don't listen. And you can't dialogue if you don't listen. You know, we go to school, and those of us who went to school, or even those of us who didn't smell the four walls of the school, you're taught how to read, write, the four language skills, right? Read, write, speak, and listen. So we're taught how to read, write, and speak. But did anybody teach you how to listen?
No.
Right? That's a skill that nobody has actually been taught how to do that. You have to grow and then do that on your own. So the essence of dialogue is not necessarily like we said before. You talk, I talk. But it's not necessarily so you can respond. When I talk, the essence of you listening to me is so that you can understand where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah.
Now, that understanding is what will inform your decision, right? But when you listen to respond, then there is a problem. So, for instance, let's say I'm talking to you, and I said, oh, I didn't like what you did in the morning. You acted like a madman. If you're listening to respond, what will come to you would be madman. And if you're angry, you can fire back at me. You are the one that is mad, right? But if you're listening to understand, you would understand that I am trying to describe your actions, not you. I'm saying you acted like. Right? And then if you're listening to understand, you will, run the event in your head and say, okay, how did I really behave? Did I behave in the way this guy is saying? And if you run the events back in your mind and it feels like, okay, he might be right, I'm sure you're not going to turn back at me and say you're also mad.
Yeah.
So the problem is now that most times when we have a dialogue, when we talk to people, we don't listen to understand. We listen so we can respond. And that's the problem. So part of the most important ingredients, as far as I'm concerned, in dialogue, is not even speaking. It's listening.
It's listening.
So, because that's what will inform how the next party would respond.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. Lately, I mediated over a case between a couple. And I found out while speaking with them, and I was able to help them to understand that. I found that the husband is speaking, the wife is speaking, but they're not listening to one another. Another situation I found out was because over time they have spoken and spoken and spoken, and they feel they don't listen or understand each other, they tended to hold back. So my question now is, what role do you think refusal to either speak or listen effectively to the other, how is it playing out in our today's world in worsening our conflicts rather than resolving them?
Well, so the thing is, like the incident you just mentioned, it's easier you can speak at each other. When you want to speak with someone, it's a different ball game, right?
Sure.
So a refusal to speak, like you said, could be because the other party is not listening or is not understanding. And most times it's about how we present these issues. Sometimes some people will tell you it's not about what you say, it's how you say it, right? How you say it matters. So remember when we started, we talked about dialogue being respectful. So whether you have germane cases, whether you have genuine reason to be angry, how you tell me that you're angry matters, right? So refusal to speak is not the way. In most cases, I think that we should be concerned with how we speak, how we, channel, how we express ourselves to the other party. I tell you what, let me give you a story, probably when I was young. So, back in the days, I don't know many of you, if you had such parents who would always insist that you talk in your clothes, right? Yes, you talk in your clothes. So my pop was one of them. So when he sees you coming back from school, you're not talking, and then he goes, "Oh, why you dressed like this? You're being irresponsible," And then maybe I'll always give an excuse. Oh, my uniform is short or something, and then I'll frown too, and then I'll walk away, right? Did he have a genuine case for me to talk in? Definitely yes.
Yes, you do.
But on the other hand, my mom, when he sees you talking, will say, "Oh, you look good, you look responsible." They both want the same thing, but they are presenting it differently,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
yes.
because my mom would always say, "Oh, you look good, you look responsible, you should be dressing like this." So I like to dress like that, so she can't compliment me. It's against my pop that will just scold you, men being men, will just scold you and say, "Come on, my friend, talking and all that." Now,
Yeah.
the thing is, when we're trying to resolve conflict, we should be careful of how we pass, and when we're trying to have dialogue to resolve conflict, how we pass the message. It doesn't matter how genuine your case is. If you're not passing it the right way, then there might be a problem.
So because we have the privilege of having you with us tonight, let's get a little practical with this. Now there's a heightened tension between someone out there, I'm sure some friends, a spouse, somebody out there, and they want to sit to resolve. How would they begin? I guess you've given us point one already, the how. So how do we get a little more practical to helping people who still feel, I'm not calm, I don't know how to gently say this, and I want to just say it the way that I feel it. How do we help such people?
Okay, so one thing is certain: if you know you don't have what it takes to be able to initiate that conversation with the other party, then that is where you guys come in. You might need a mediator to set the rules. But if you can, basically you have to let the other party know what you want to do. So there's a framework for it. So what is this about? What is this discussion about? What do we intend to get at the end of the discussion, right? And then what is our shared value? So let's say husband and wife, hypothetically had issues in the morning, and then the husband comes back in the evening, and you're like, okay, I want to talk to you about what happened in the morning. I'm hoping that at the end of the day, you've told your husband what the case is about.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that at the end of the day, we'll be able to have mutual understanding and forgive each other. That's the end product of the discussion. I know, and then shared value, our shared goal, I know we still love each other.
Yeah.
So when you present it in that framework, okay, the other party is likely to listen to you, right? So being able to present your case, or being able to bring in the other party to let the other party know, look, I'm just trying to have a mutual understanding with you. I'm not trying to fight you. Another one is presenting your case based on experience, not accusation. We do that a lot. So for instance, let's say again, husband, I like to use couples because I think that is a fantastic example. If the wife was ignored in the morning and maybe she wasn't happy about it, and the husband comes back and then she's trying to relate her feelings, she's trying to have a dialogue to settle whatever differences they had in the morning, it is always advisable to come from your experience. When I say experience, make reference to that particular incident. I felt ignored in the morning. Now, if you go, you are always ignoring me, that's accusation. That's not from experience.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You're always ignoring me. You're always talking back at me. Or, do you understand? Make reference to the particular case you want to discuss.
Okay.
Because when you say you're always ignoring me, there's every tendency that the other person would go defensive.
True.
But when you make reference to the case that happened earlier, oh, I felt this way
this morning. Okay.
The other person might likely listen. So come from experience and not accusation. It doesn't matter if the person has been ignoring you before now. If you're trying to settle the issue that happened at hand, stick to that.
Stick to that. Whoa. Come from experience. Address issues part-time.
Exactly.
And I like that. Listeners, I'm sure you would want to call in. Please call in to give Dr. AK a question tonight. Don't let this opportunity slip by you. Call us on 081 40 0989. I take that again, 081 40 989. Or you could call us on 070 8780 0989. So Dr. AK, another you raised a very fundamental aspect as regarding how conflicts can be addressed. Many of us are not patient, honestly, to address a particular issue or incident part time. We would rather lump everything up together. And that's why resolving conflicts tonight is saying that do not keep gathering your cases. As it happens, address it. As it happens, address it. If you need to take a walk, you need to cool down, you need to think through it to be able to present to whoever is involved with you calmly, because the how is very important,
Very
so that you're not
important, yes.
getting the person giving you a rebuttal that is so terrible. So it's important that we're able to communicate our feelings part time to one another. Now, I thought to add here that there are stubborn parties who do not know how to resolve their conflicts because they are always talking back at each other. That is why you need a mediator. A mediator does not decide the issues for you. A mediator guides you subtly through your own cases and brings you to a mutual conclusion. I guess I could ask you to give us one more example, illustration, a life situation, anything at all that could help buttress our point on conflict
So the
resolution.
reality is that every conflict, and when we say conflict, it doesn't have to be something big, right?
Yeah.
Every conflict that has happened in the world has been resolved via dialogue, right?
Sure.
People would have to talk. And most times they don't agree, right? You might not necessarily agree at first, but sitting down to talk is a step in the right direction. It's progress. So you talk today, you don't agree. You talk tomorrow, you don't agree. You just keep talking. Eventually, you begin to compromise. I mean, the essence of talking is so that you can understand my position, I can understand your position, and then we can meet halfway.
Halfway.
Right? So conflict, whether you're going to make reference to South Africa apartheid, it was all right. It was tried via violence. It didn't work until people's parties started talking, and then they had their independence. Whether you're going to talk about in Nigeria, a couple of years back, we had serious agitation from the Niger Delta region. The military couldn't resolve it until this party started talking. So conflict resolution via dialogue. Dialogue is a powerful tool for conflict resolution. And I think that people should learn, again, to relate their feelings, to speak about it, and be mindful of how they present it. And the other part is, look, the truth is, conflict is expensive. Nobody likes trouble. Whether you like it or not, nobody likes trouble, right? It's expensive. So people would always, if there's a way to resolve differences, people would always go for it. You just have to follow the right way to do that.
Follow the right way to do that. I like that. Now, in the world that we live in today, so that our listeners do not just think we're talking about just human beings, I'm realizing from what you are saying that this word dialogue can also be used in politics, can be used among societal issues, or community persons can use that as a weapon. In the workplace, amongst employees and employers, we could dialogue. There's nothing really that cannot be spoken over, just as you have established. It's important for people who keep saying to themselves that I don't like talking, I'd rather keep it inside, to know that it's so important for them to learn to talk. Nothing solves by itself inside your head. You have to say it out for the other person to be able to understand what it is you are thinking part time. Just before we wrap up, I would love to still give a chance to any caller out there who would want to call. Call us on 081 40 00 0989. I take that again, 081 40 00 0989. Finally, Dr. Henry, it's been a wonderful time having you here tonight. The time is always flying when we are seated here. But I would love to ask you one golden rule you did like for everyone listening to remember when resolving conflicts through dialogue.
Remember that you might not necessarily get an agreement, but the essence of dialogue is to get mutual understanding. Now, when there is understanding, then there is every case that peace will prevail.
I have a caller. Hello and good evening. Hello and good evening. Hello and good evening. Oh no, we just lost that caller. Please do well to call back if you can. You can call us on 07087 800989 or call us on 081 40000989. Hello and good evening. Good evening, sir. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Sudan.
What's your name, please? Please, what's your name? Al Hassan.
Al Hassan.
All right, Al Hassan. Good evening.
Thank you, good evening.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you to the presenter.
Okay.
We're very happy for the enlightenment. All of the looking multi-ethnic groups, a kind of
Hello, Mr. Al Hassan. You might need to move away from your speaker or your radio, whatever device you are using, or your phone. Please. Oh no, we just lost him. Al Hassan, if you can hear me, do well to call us back. We're wrapping up already. Please, sir, back to your golden rule that you would want every member or anyone in the society to remember.
So, like I said, dialogue is not about agreement necessarily. It's about mutual understanding. And when there's understanding, there is a place for peace. And the idea doesn't mean that once you speak once, things will resolve. No, things might not resolve immediately. So you keep speaking, you keep having that dialogue, you keep having that dialogue. And the thing is, conflict is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a way of showing that things are not the way they're supposed to be, and there's a need for change, hence the need to talk. Right?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's a powerful cap-up for me. Thank you so much. Realize, for those of you who are avoiding dialogue, that it's important you speak. Not necessarily because you will solve everything in one sitting, but keep speaking and keep speaking, keep talking and talking, keep dialoguing and dialoguing until the other party is able to also come to a mutual stand with you. So glad to have you all be with us tonight. I'm sure you learned one or two. See you again next week. Thank you.
Are you a leader in any capacity, a professional in any field, an educator, a parent, a religious leader, a husband, a wife, or just someone who wants to live and live with more understanding? Then this is for you. A 3-day virtual masterclass on emotional intelligence, a life-changing experience to help you master your emotions, resolve conflict peacefully, and become a more powerful and compassionate leader. Speak